everybody is Maikito. I hope everybody has had and is having a good day and a good night so far. There are Champions League games tomorrow. There's a lot of games to go through. There's pretty decent matchups. Last time there were Champions League games, I feel like it was a little hard to find some props because the matches were pretty even. But here I feel like you could find some decent value on some of the props, and I found some picks, player props, and money lines that I like. So let's get straight into those. And my first pick is Alvaro Morata to go higher than 2.5 shots, playing at home for AC Milan, going up against Club Brugge. He's had 5 starts so far, and he's actually yet to go over in all those 5 games. And I feel like this is a trap. But if you look into the games, you can see why. He played against Udinese. They went a man down with the red card pretty early on, so already a man down there. He went under away to Fiorentina. Fiorentina's a pretty good defense. They got an early lead, which they weren't as aggressive, and then he got injured versus Lecce, so he didn't go over there. He barely went under with 2 away to Inter Milan, and they're a good defense. And then he went under against Liverpool, another good defense. So he's had good defense, or has just had bad luck. But this is the first game where he actually has a favorable matchup. When he played for Atletico Madrid last season, he averaged 3.16 shots per 90 for them. He had 25 headers, 24 with his right and 18 with his left. So he's a very, very versatile striker. He's 6'2", and he wins 62% of the aerial duels that he wins. And the main reason why I like this is because he's very good at finding space in between defenders and making those runs. He does have a tendency of being caught offside, but either way, he's still really good at finding space and just making those runs, and I like that. And I mentioned that because Club Brugge are really bad at defending through balls. So if they can find Morata, which they will, he'll have those opportunities as long as they pass on the ball. He will take those shots. Like I said, he shoots with his right and with his left. He's just a very versatile striker. And Dortmund played away to Bruges and gave Dortmund 17 shots. So if Dortmund can take 17 shots against Bruges away from home, AC Milan can take as many, if not more, at home. And some of the games he's played where he's gone under as well, he's played as like a cam / second striker. But in this game, he should be the lone striker this game. And I like this matchup. I think this is a trap. He's a good matchup. He's a good player. I like Alvaro Morata to go higher than 2.5 shots. My next prop is Arnaut Danjuma to go higher than 2.5 shots, playing at home for Girona, going up against Slovan. He's averaged 2.16 shots per 90, and even though he's still averaged 2, he hasn't had like Morata, he hasn't had a lot of good matchups. He's had pretty tough matchups. He's played against Sociedad, he's played against Bilbao, he's played against Feyenoord, he's played against Valencia, and he's played against Barcelona in the games he started. And this is his first good matchup, and it's a really good matchup. Slovan gave Manchester City, who played away 28 shots, and Man City won 4-0 in that game. And then Celtic, who played at home, took 16 shots and won that game 5-1. So it's the best matchup he's going to have this tournament, especially at home. And he didn't have many opportunities when he played last season in the Prem. I believe he played for Everton. And even then, with the limited opportunities he's had, he averaged 3.83 shots per 90 for them. He took 16 with his right, 9 with his left. He took 17 from inside the box and 8 from outside the box. So he can shoot with both feet. He can shoot from inside the box and outside the box. He's a quick player, and he likes to cut inside. And you know how I feel about players that play on the wing, or play more on the wing, which is where he has for Girona, and then likes to cut inside. They don't need a lot of space to shoot. And against Slovan, he's going to have a lot of opportunities. And I think 2.5 shots is a good line for him. So like Arnaut Danjuma to a higher than 2.5 shots. My next prop is Kylian Mbappe. Is actually his higher than 0.5 shots assisted, playing at home for Real Madrid, going against Dortmund. I feel like most people are going to take his shot line, but I'm actually taking this shots assisted line. He's gone over in 3 out of 5 games so far at home this season, and he will pass if he finds a good opportunity, and the opportunity is there, and he will, because he's a great dribbler and he can create those chances himself, which is good for us. And he actually played him twice last season in the Champions League against Dortmund when he played for PSG, and he went over in both games. He had 3 against them away, and he had 2 against them at home. So he still had more than 1 in both of those games. And that's because he's a great dribbler and can find those opportunities. And he likes to lay the ball off as well. Not only can he just find through balls and stuff like that, he easily can just lay it off to a teammate and they can take an easy shot or a long shot. And he has plenty of players he can pass it to. He has a better team now than what he did with PSG. So if he can do it with them, he can do it with Real Madrid. And he can, like I said, he can pass it to players that will shoot, who can just lay it off to, like Vinicius, Rodrigo, Bellingham, Valverde. He has plenty of players to pass it to. And Dortmund gave Club Brugge, who played at home, 18 shots. And they've averaged 12 shots allowed so far away from home in the league. They've get 14 to Union Berlin, and they get 17 to Stuttgart. So they have allowed a lot of decent shots, a lot of shots to opponents. He averaged 1.6 shots assisted per 90 last season for PSG, and he just needs one chance. And I feel like they're overestimating Dortmund's defense. They're a good team, but they do have the tendency of allowing a lot of shots, especially long shots. And like I said, he can easily lay it off. He's done good against them before, so I like this prop. I like Kylian Mbappe to go higher than 0.5 shots assisted. The last player prop that I like so far is Victor Gyokeres to go higher than 1.5 shots on target, playing away from home for Sporting, going up against Sturm Graz. He's averaged 2.68 shots on target per 90 in the league. He's gone under in both Champions League games, but they have been pretty tough defenses with Lille and PSV, and now he has a good matchup. Graz gave Bruges, who played away from home, 13 shots, and Brest, who played at home, 14 shots. And it's not like the teams they faced were good opposition, and they still gave them a decent amount of shots. And last season, Graz started in the Europa League and got relegated to the Conference League. So weren't able to do good against big teams there. They got relegated to the third best, the lowest pretty much European competition. And then when they got eliminated when they played against their first big team there, and they played Lille, they gave them an average of 14.5 shots home and away. And they lost against them. So I expect Graz to fight hard. Yes, they're not a bad team in that sense. They're the best team in their league for a reason. But I expect Gyokeres to be there and be attacking. If they want to beat Graz, they can't underestimate him either, but they still struggle against big teams. He's a good dribbler and he's a good finisher, so if he finds opportunities, good chances that he gets them on target. And I just feel like if he finds opportunities, he will take them, and he's done good for us so far when I've taken him before, so I trust him against a good matchup. I like Victor Gyokeres to go higher than 1.5 shots on target. Quickly before I get into the money lines, if you guys could comment on the video for the algorithm. Doesn't matter what you say, anything you guys put on there helps boost the video out to more people. Like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications as well. Do all of that completely free to support the channel. If you want to do a little more to support the channel, you can either use my codes for the player props. Use Underdog and PrizePicks if you haven't signed up for those, linked in the description. Fliff for Moneyline, linked as well, and then the YouTube membership if you want to again support me. It's linked. It's also the join button next to the subscribe button. You get the plays out early, the video out early before everyone else, before it goes public, just in case they do get bumped and get taken away. And again, great way to support the channel. Other than that, it doesn't matter if you guys whatever you guys do, I really do appreciate anything you do to help. My first money line play is Slip. You can get this for -122 on Fliff right now. And the first one is the AC Milan money line going to be against Club Brugge. They're just a better quality team in my opinion. They have an informed Pulisic. They have Morata, who I spoke about earlier. That's a good matchup for them. They have Leao, who always plays great when he can. And they have Theo, who's also an overlapping fullback who plays good for them. And Bruges barely beat Graz 1-0 away from home. And I talked about how they struggle against big teams. And Bruges barely were able to beat them 1-0. And they lost at home to Dortmund, another big team, 3-0. And Milan are yet to win a game in the Champions League so far. They've lost both games that they've played, but they've played Liverpool and they've played Leverkusen, two tough matches for them. But now they have a good and a better matchup against Club Brugge. And in the league, they're undefeated at home. They've had 3 wins and 1 draw. And I just feel like this will come down to, first of all, Bruges might not even be able to score against AC Milan. And even if they do, AC Milan can easily outscore them. So like the AC Milan money line against Bruges. And the second one is the Monaco money line against Red Star. They're undefeated so far this season in both League and Champions League. They beat Barca. They haven't lost against teams like Lille and Lyon. And Red Star have lost both of their Champions League games. 2-1 to Benfica, who played away, and 4-0 to Inter, who played at home. And they just can't keep up against these big teams. Monaco have scored 18 goals in 10 games so far this season, and they can easily outscore Red Star. Red Star might not even be able to score a goal, and I can easily see Monaco scoring at least 2 in this game. But I'm taking the money line instead of like over 1.5 because there's always a chance that they win 1-0. And they have players like Embolo, who stepped up since Balogun's injury. They have Minamino, and they have defenders who can score. Defenders have scored 5 of the 18 goals which is 33% of the goals they scored so far this season. So they're a good all-around team, pretty good defensively. They've been able to score, and I expect them to get this one against Red Star at home. Keep that undefeated streak alive. So like the Monaco money line against Red Star, that's the slip I have. As always, you can mix and match them, whatever you want to do. When it comes to that, put them in your own slip or just take them how I have them. And then the second play that I like, you can get this for -135. That's the Girona to go higher than 2.5 goals against Slovan, which means for them to score 3. And ultimately, first of all, they need to win. It's too heavily juiced there, so I'd rather take this. And this is a good morale boost for them in the Champions League, especially at home. Slovan have conceded 9 goals in the 2 games. They've conceded more than 3. They've conceded 4 and 5 goals in the 2 Champions League games to Celtic and City. And Girona are not a bad team. Sure, they're not as good as they were last season because they lost a lot of their 2 main attacking players that they had. But even then, they've done pretty good. When it comes to scoring, even at home, they scored 4 against Osasuna, they scored 2 against Bilbao, and they scored 2 against Feyenoord. So they're still able to score, and against a much better matchup, I expect them to be able to score 3 or more against them. And they've had 8 different scorers from the 10 goals that they scored in the league, so they can score from anyone, whether it's the attack, the midfield, the defense. They have midfielders that are willing to shoot the ball as well, like Yangel Herrera, and they have good defenders in the back who are also are pretty decent in the air. And Slovan, like I mentioned before, allow a lot of shots. They gave 28 shots to City. They allowed 16 to Celtic. They've conceded 12 goals in 10 games in their league. So if they concede in their league and already concede a lot against bigger teams, I expect Girona to take advantage of this matchup. It's going to be a good morale boost at home for them to get their first Champions League win, and I expect them to go out there and give their fans a good showing. So I like this prop. I like Girona higher than 2.5 goals against Slovan. Thank you everybody for watching. Quickly going over last video's picks. We swept the player props. We had 2 in the video, added a third. Hugo Doodle lower than 3 shots. He only ended with 1. That one was easy. They overestimated him. Duda higher than 1.5 shots assisted. Went over against them last season. He went over against them again, ended with 2. And then I added Pepelu higher than 1.5 tackles. He ended up getting sent off, had a red card, but still came through, had 2 tackles. But moneyline, cannot say the same about that. It was actually quite the opposite. I had to slip and I had to play, and both of those missed. Lower than 5.5 cards in the Valencia and Palmas game. I'm pretty sure this prop missed by like the first half. For some reason, they were super aggressive. I knew this line was like that because they might have been more aggressive because of relegation teams, but I didn't expect them to be this aggressive. And then the player prop, Monza had not won a single game this season, and they decided to win their first game the one time we took them, so that was unfortunate. The second leg in there, no penalties in that game. Forest and Palace, that one hit for us, but Monza decided to win their first game the one time we decided to take them, so unfortunately missed there. We did great with the player props, not as good with the money lines. Hopefully in this next video we can do good in both. If I do have any added plays, as always, I will put them in the pinned comment in the YouTube description of this video, about an hour to 30 minutes before the games pop out, just so I can see lineups, lines change and stuff like that. I wasn't able to add as much as I would have wanted, obviously, today, last video, because there weren't that many games. And also, for those that don't know, free Discord, linked in the description. Yes, it's free. You can talk to other people about your plays, your slips, just other sports in general. A good community I'm trying to build over there. So if you want to join that, linked in the description as well. But other than that, I hope everybody has a good night, a good day, and we can cash out tomorrow.